Sup, Buttercup? Liz, I'm happy to present the first installment of
Karaleigh's movies that should be made. Yeah.
with the story of D.B. Cooper. I want to make this disclaimer for anyone else who may be watching. While I do not own the story of D.B. Cooper, this version is my intellectual property. If you would like to use any of the elements or details here presented, please contact me to discuss. D.B. Cooper is the story of a man calling himself Dan Cooper, who was dressed like a man in black, boarding a 1971 flight from Portland, Oregon to Seattle, Washington. After the flight began, he handed the flight attendant a note, which she promptly put in her pocket. He tells the flight attendant she better read the note. He has a bomb, and as the note states, he wants $200,000 or he will detonate the bomb. He opens up his case to show her red cylinders and wires, and then coolly orders a bourbon and soda. When the plane lands in Seattle, Cooper trades the passengers for $200,000, 4 parachutes, and for the crew to refuel the plane and fly him to Mexico. But he does request that they keep the plane under 10,000 feet. Once back in the air, Cooper jumps from the plane somewhere between Seattle and Reno, Nevada.
And he was never heard from again.
The only significant evidence that ever turned up was 3 packs of cash equaling, I think, about $10,000 that washed up on the banks of the Columbia River. 10 years later, very disintegrated. The flight attendants and passengers spent about 3 hours with Cooper and were able to produce what is considered a pretty accurate description of what he looks like. And here we come to the first element of the movie I think should be made. To me, this sketch looks like a well-known actor we all know and love, Clark Gregg. I think he should be cast. I think he'd be wonderful at this. So here's how I see this going down.
We have 2 cold case FBI agents sit down to review the case, both female.
Why women, you may ask? Which is a stupid question. It's 2019. Why not women? But there is a reason. Stick with me. And they start going over the case, voiceover first, and then it starts with Clark Gregg buying the ticket as Dan Cooper, all smooth and cool with briefcase and bomb. And then you will see the 2 flight attendants, but they're going to be played by the same actresses as the FBI agents, and throughout they can stop and talk to each other and ask questions as the agents, but we see the flight attendants. I'm picturing like Ocean's 11 music in the background.
And so we see the events play out. Cooper hands the note, shows the bomb, orders a bourbon, trades the passengers for money, and takes off again, and it ends with him jumping out of the plane. Then it cuts back to the agents. They do a bit of commenting, and then they start going over suspects.
The FBI considered between 800 and 1,000 people as suspects as they investigated this case, and they released a lot of information on the case in the hopes of identifying Cooper. And let me tell you, the suspect list is a roller coaster ride.
It includes people who got caught trying to do similar hijacks, deathbed confessions, and one woman was even convinced that it was her husband because too many of the similarities matched up.
The twist I would have here is that all of the suspects are played by Clark Gregg, and any wives or other people in it are played by the 2 FBI agents. So basically this is a cast of 3.
Then for the final scene, we're back at FBI headquarters, and one of the agents says to the other, "You know what most likely happened, right?" And we cut to Cooper as he jumps out of the plane, voiceover continuing, "Cooper most likely died. He jumped with 2 of the parachutes. One was sewn shut and the other was military and not steerable. It was dark, raining, and even though they were only at 10,000 feet, the cloud cover that night was 5,000 feet. And it was in a wooded area. Cooper didn't stand a chance."
The agents type up their conclusion and roll credits. And because I like a good credit scene, we cut to Clark Gregg on a beach somewhere sipping pina coladas. The end. So Liz, what do you think? I think this would be a really fun movie to make. My favorite stupid fact about this case is D.B. Cooper was never used as a moniker by the hijacker. He always went by Dan Cooper. D.B. Cooper seems to have either come from a misprint in a newspaper or a typo in the case file. Bye-bye, Buttercup.